Okay, hi. So in this video, which does assume you've watched the first video that goes through the workflow of using GitHub and the source control for these apps, I'm going to show you how to make quite a simple app again, but actually one that does something more like the kind of work you might be doing if you're making a patch app. I will in this video go through the whole process from making a branch through to making a pull request, but I'm going to speed through those a little bit. I'm going to go here, click the drop down, I'm going to make a new branch called app / the name of it. I'm just going to call it demo app again, not dome, demo, create new branch. This will then switch me to that branch, demo app, and I'm going to change the .com here to .dev and hit enter, which will take me to the GitHub development environment. It's not code spaces, so you can't run the code just as I said before, except you can because we're using the patch app. If you haven't seen the other video, to get the extension you need for this environment so you can test the apps, you go to the extensions button and you search for sf-st-lite and you would install this. Where it says uninstall, you would click install. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the file explorer, which looks like a new page. I'm going to click the drop down for apps. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it demo app. I'm going to precede that with 010, and in this I'm going to make two files. I'm going to make app.py and I'm going to make requirements.txt. Okay, so I've got app.py, I've got requirements.txt. I know what my requirements are going to be in this case, but we'll do it as if I didn't. So we'll just start with the app. First things first, as always, because the apps are made with streamlit, we're going to import streamlit as st. We're probably going to want to import pandas as pd, and we're probably going to use plotly express, so let's import plotly.express as px. Wonderful. Right, so we'll need a title for our app, st.title, and just for this case we'll call it demo app. And what we need here with the st.write, again, if you don't know where I'm getting these from, they are in the API documentation for Streamlit. Anything you want to do, you can search through this sidebar to find the API reference you use to write it in Python. Again, it's not like writing Python without an API where you just print things to the console. If you want something to appear on the app, you'll have to use the Streamlit API. And here, and this is important that you do this when you make an app, you write a description of what the app is, what it does, how a user would use it, and how a user would understand it. I'm not going to go through that process here. You understand how to do that. I'm going to write, this is a demo showing how to make an app. Okay, right, so one of the first things you're going to want to do if you're making some kind of data analysis, data visualization app, is you want to get a file in there. The easiest way to do that, and the way I'm going to teach in this video, is to use the Streamlit upload widget. So I'm going to go to input widgets in this drop down, and I'm going to find file uploader, which takes us to the docs page for the file uploader. I see that to upload a file, I use st.fileuploader, and actually really usefully at the bottom here, there's some examples of how I would do that. So something like uploaded file equals, and then whatever goes into the file uploader widget. So I'll just show you that now. So let's say uploaded file equals st.file uploader, and then I put in a label as a string, so file here. going. Just as in the demo video, doesn't work first try, but let's try again. Now, actually, I noticed there will be a problem here. We haven't got Plotly in our requirements, so it's going to try and install the requirements, but it's not going to have them in the requirements. There we go, no module named Plotly. So let's try again. Let's go Plotly. Now, if we relaunch the preview, it will do it with Plotly. Now, the important thing is, when we're making these apps, every time we change the code, we can rerun the code using the rerun button that arrives. But if we do something that changes the install of Python we're using, so in this case we're adding Plotly, we will have to relaunch the preview. And here we go, demo app as a title. This is a demo showing how to make an app, and then browse files. So let's see how this file uploader works. Let's go to browse files, and it brings up our file explorer. Let's go to data. This is a bit of data that I've got from the DFE website. Let's go to SPC class size, and it shows us we've uploaded that file. It's 2.4 megabytes. This comes from here, which is the 2021-2022 school census, and I'll link that below if you want to follow along, so you can download it. Not very useful though, it doesn't actually do anything at this point. So let's get rid of that file we've uploaded, and let's make it do something. So, when we're making apps, we can do things the complicated way, which allows us some more customization and more features in the long run by using session states, where every time you do something, it updates the session state of the app and changes what it displays and changes what it can do. We're not going to do that, we're going to do this a simple way. So what we're going to do is we're going to build our app inside an if statement. So let's go if uploaded file, and then we're going to build our app. So what's important is that this variable will be none up until the point that we've uploaded a file to this widget. So if uploaded file will be false and won't do the rest of the app until we've browsed the files and we've uploaded something. So let's put something in here. Let's say st.write, and then let's put file uploaded. So let's rerun this. You'll notice, because we haven't uploaded a file, it doesn't say file uploaded. But let's browse files, add the class size file, and look, our app's uploaded, and we've got file uploaded. So let's do something a bit more useful than that. Let's read it in as a data frame. So class size equals pd.read CSV, same as you would normally. Uploaded file, and let's then display this uploaded file in our app. So st.table, which is, if we can go here, the chart elements, no, it's data elements. st.table is the API reference to show a table like a pandas data frame. So st.table class size, now this is actually quite big, so we're not going to display the whole thing. Let's do .head, and let's do something like 20. So actually, if we rerun this, currently spc class size.csv is already uploaded, so we don't need to worry about uploading it every time. Let's rerun, and here we go. Here's the head of our table printed. Now I am zoomed in to make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. It won't actually be this big, but let's have a look at our table. Let's see what we can do. So we can scroll across here. If we go to the bottom, we can scroll across the table. There we go. And we can see there's an average class size, number of pupils, etc. So let's make this a bit smaller so I can actually see the scroll wheel and the table, and let's see the kind of thing we can do. So we've got time periods. Now there will be more time periods in here, and actually we can do something like st.write. Let's do some investigation. Let's go class size, and let's go time period dot unique, and let's rerun this, and there we go. There's a list of, well, a data frame for the unique different time periods, so we can see that we can look at time period. And actually, let's make a plot of how the average class size changes through those time periods. So let's do something like class size equals class size, and we're going to need to slice this out. So we want the region to be, let's look at the whole thing. Let's comment that out so we can actually do this first. I'm not used to using this keyboard. We want the whole country. Can we look at the whole country? Well, let's do the sensible thing here. Let's do st.right. Let's take it down to 5 again. Class size, and let's go to region name. Rerun this. So I am guessing that nan means that there is no region name and it's the whole country. So let's go for class size equals class size, where class size region name, and let's put that as a string. Dot isna. Let's rerun that, see if it works. Good. And let's just instead move that under here, so we're plotting just for the whole country. Moving table for the whole country. Let's go. There we go, so there's no region code, no region name, no LA name, because it's the whole country. Dot head, let's go 50 again, see what happens. No, I want to go 5. Okay, so here we go. Let's find all the different class types now, so we can do it just for all of the classes. st.right class size, and we're going to go class type, it's one word, class type dot unique, and let's print that out. Class type is not defined. Okay, that is because that should be a string. We always make mistakes, don't we? So let's have a look at just secondary. Say class. Let's just copy this, make it a bit easier on ourselves. So let's go class size, where this is going to be class size equals, and then as a string, secondary. Let's rerun that. It's not class size, is it? Of course it's class type. We all make mistakes, and that's fine. There we go. And then there's another thing that we're not stratifying by. Let's go size equals total as well. So Control C, let's copy that. Let's change this to size, and let's change this to total. There we go. So if we look here, and we can get rid of the dot head because this should be a manageable data frame. There we go. 2015 through to 2022. These are all the class sizes. So let's make a plot. We're going to use Plotly just because that's probably the easiest way to make a plot at this point. And also Plotly is nice and interactive, so actually it makes much more interesting apps. So let's do probably a line chart of the different types of different class size averages across secondary schools. So what I've done here is I've gone to the Plotly Express documentation. Now I'm not, as you can see in this, teaching you how to write Python. I'm just showing you, assuming you know how to write some Python, the process you might go through to do stuff. So I'm generally looking at the docs to work stuff out. So let's see, if I want to make a Plotly Express line graph, I need px.line and then a data frame, an x and a y, and we'll see how we go from there. So let's go fig equals px.line. What's our data frame? Well, our data frame is class size. Our x equals time period, and our y equals, let's have a look here, average class size. Average class size. Right, I realise we actually haven't made the plot, have we? So, fig makes an image that is this, that we can interact with. We won't worry about that. And we want to go to the streamlit API, and we want to go to chart elements, and we want to display a Plotly chart. So we go to st.plotlychart, and we can just put fig in st.plotlychart. So let's go st.plotlychart, and then fig, and let's see what happens. There we go, we've got a Plotly chart. Now, interestingly, you will see here, these time periods we've got, pandas in Plotly don't realize that these are years because they're actually just big numbers. So it's giving us a value for 201,600, etc. So let's just quickly slice down those so that they appear as years. Okay, right, so I'm back. I just did that behind the scenes, but what I did, let me talk you through it. So I've got the column time period from class size is equal to the column time period from class size, and I have converted that to a string, and then I've used the string method to take just the first 4 characters of that, so 2015, 16 has just become 2015. And actually I'm going to do as type float, just to make that back into a number. There we go, very good. So it now knows these are years, and our plot makes much more sense. And we can make this full screen if we wanted to. And actually it's quite nice to drag this over here and look at the app in something much more like full screen. So at this point, what we've got is we have a file upload, we can see the table that we're getting our data from, and we have a plot that comes out of it. But let's add a bit more interactivity, so let's go back to our app. So if you see here, what we did was we made some slices, but let's make it so that we can change some of these slices and allow the users to choose things. So let's make a sidebar. We make a sidebar, and we can have a look here in the documentation as always, and we can go to layouts and containers and st.sidebar, and it shows you here an example of how you would use it with st.sidebar, and then like an if statement, you have the thing you want in the sidebar in there. So let's go with st.sidebar, and then we want to add a select box. So let's go to select box, and here's an example of how to use it. Your variable is equal to the select box, and then you have the thing you would like it to be, and then the options you have. So let's go st dot, and now this is an important part of this sidebar. When you are making these widgets in the sidebar, it's actually not st dot select box, it's st dot sidebar dot select box, and then we're going to put, so let's make it so we can choose class type. So choose class type. So this is our label for the select box, and we're going to have this as class type equals. We're going to put a comma here, and we're going to then give our options. So what are our options going to be? So we want the options for this to be all of the different unique values from class type. So options equals, and let's just check this to make sure there's options. You don't even need to say options, but it is options equals, and we want to say class size, and we want to make a list of all of the different class types. So I'll copy paste this, dot unique, and just for now let's have st.sidebar.write, and let's say an f string you have chosen, and then let's put that in there, class type. Okay, let's go back to our app, let's rerun that. Here we go, we now have the different class types: infant, key stage 2, primary, secondary, and we can change that. It won't change the graph, but it will change. You have chosen primary, you've chosen key stage 2, etc. So how do we make this change our graph? Well, let's go to here where it says class type, and we'll just have this as class underscore type. Did I zoom in here? What happened? There we go. Okay, so class type equals class type, which is this variable. Let's do that preview. There we go. We can have a look through. We'll see how this changes. And this will also change the table we're producing, because all of this comes after there. So that is kind of the basics of how to make an app. I'm not going to go through an in-depth example of how to interact with Plotly, how to interact with Python. I just wanted to show you kind of the basics of using the Plotly documentation and kind of how an app looks. So let's finish this off and let's go to the source control. Let's check that we've got the changes we want. I've read through all of this and that's all right. I read through this, we've got Plotly, that's perfect. So let's add these. What have we allowed the user to do? We've allowed the user to visualize class size changes. I'm going to commit and push. I'm then going to change .dev to .com. Here we go. Let's do it this way this time. So branches 1 commit ahead. I'm going to create a pull request. We'll call that demo app to visualize class changes. I will write a useful comment explaining here. Create pull request. Then what will happen is I will get an email about that. I will go through the same process to review it, change it, I will leave comments, and then I will go through the last steps to make sure that it gets added as an app. And once you've made all the changes, I'm happy, you're happy, and it's added as an app. I will add it as an app, and I'll go through those last steps so your work is done here. I hope this has been useful, and again, as always, if you have any questions, email data to insight or me particularly. That is if you have questions about the Patch app, about getting involved and contributing, about learning Python if you would like to. We can answer all of those things. Thank you very much.